Oh my God! Get the hell out of here! You can talk about Rodgers. Get the hell out of here!
Okay, what is the need to bring up the Yankees?
It's just stuff to bring up because
Are you kidding me? Come on, dude! This came out of nowhere!
not. Clemson is a top team. Don't start with that. Clemson's a top team, no doubt, 100%.
Unless they're on Saturday, then they might move down.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We are here with episode number 59 on your Saturday afternoon. We have a good one lined up for you. We're going to start off with our Go to the Number as we always do. We're going to talk about a good division, maybe a good division in the NFL coming up. And then obviously we're going to end with our GOAT picks where there is now a three-way tie for first place. But we're going to start with Go to the Number as always. So I'm going to swing it to my co-host, Mike Buetti first.
Well, I mean, I thought this one was pretty simple. There are definitely no baseball players for this one, Tommy. So I don't know who the heck you're going to go with. If you brought up the player you were talking about in our little pre-production talk, I don't know what to tell you, but it has to be Jack Ham here. Jack Ham, excuse me. He's a Hall of Famer, 8-time Pro Bowler, 6-time All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champ. He's a part of the Hall of Fame 1970s team. This guy was an absolute beast, In the 50s, we've gotten a big run of linebackers, and it's not stopping here. It has to be Jack Ham.
And Matt, why don't I swing it to you next?
I have to agree with Mike. It's definitely Jack Ham. I said last week that I was going with the Steelers for this number like I did last time. And here I am going with a Jack Ham. Nothing more to say than what Mike did. Just great pick, and I'm interested to see what Tommy is going to say.
Tommy, pressure is on you. Number 59.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jack Ham as well. I was thinking about a baseball player, but I'm going to go with Jack. He had a great career, and I am a Steelers fan. I don't follow as closely as I probably should, but, he was a part of the Steel Curtain, so he had a really good career. You gave a lot of the stats, Mike. You gave all of them pretty much. He has 32 career interceptions, and he played in 162 career games, which, that's the same amount as a baseball season. So that's why I went with him rather than go with a baseball player. No, I'm just kidding. He was outstanding, and he's the clear choice for the GOAT of number 59. Like you said, Mike, there weren't too many good baseball players for this one. There were some good ones, but not GOAT worthy. So I'm going to go with Jack for today.
Well, yeah, I think this is going to be unanimous Go to the Number. I'm also going to go with Jack. And Mike mentioned most of the stats. But the one thing that I found that was super interesting was his 8 Pro Bowl seasons came consecutively in the middle of his career. He had 8 straight Pro Bowl seasons, which is something that's very impressive. And I mean, we mentioned the interceptions. We mentioned the Pro Bowlers, the Super Bowl or championship. So, I mean, it's got to be Jack Ham here. Glad to see that we're all unanimous on this. Great representation of number 59.
Also, his 6 all-pro teams came consecutively, too. So that's also another interesting fact about him.
I mean, it just shows how dominant that Steelers defense was. Like the Steelers, the franchise itself is the best, in my opinion, the best franchise in the NFL. So that's a great representation of their defense back in the day.
And just one other short thing to mention, it is going to be a baseball player. Number 59 is an honorable mention, Carlos Carrasco. It has nothing to do with his on-the-field stats, but the fact that he was able to battle cancer successfully, then make his way back onto the MLB field definitely makes him a GOAT in my eyes, definitely. So just as it is Jimmy V week in ESPN, we're looking for research for cancer. Definitely, if you are able to, definitely just reach out to the Jimmy V Fund and give what you can. Cancer research is very important, and Carlos Carrasco is a good representation here as well.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you brought him up. I was thinking about going with him for my go of number 59. That's a great story that you brought up, Connor. He is a really good pitcher as well. I mean, he did lead the league in wins in 2017, but as you mentioned, the most importantly there is his story. He was just, it's unbelievable what he's been able to do to come back and get back on the field. So that's a great honorable mention.
Connor, you just let Tommy do his whole spiel for Carlos Carrasco now.
Hey,
you know what? I set ourselves up for that, but I think Carlos Carrasco's story is just too good not to mention. But I think that is going to wrap up a very good Go of the Number segment, number 59. We're going to swing into our NFC East talk next.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We just talked about the GOAT of number 59. Now we're heading into the NFC East. this past weekend, we saw the Seattle Seahawks be defeated by the New York Giants, and we saw the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers lose to the Washington football team. 2 big upsets, 2 in the same division. Now it seems like we got these 2 teams going for that NFC East title. Connor, I'm going to start with you. Who do you think is going to win the NFC East title? And more importantly, do you think that they could fit 2 teams in the playoffs?
It's an interesting conversation to have, and I'm glad that we are having it here on the show. I do think the division right now belongs to the Giants because of their 2 wins over Washington football team. They did sweep them. I think they won both, or they won one like off a 2-point conversion, I think. But I do think the Giants certainly control the division right now. I mean, both teams are 5-7. The Giants, the Giants are playing the Cardinals this week. I think the Giants could potentially win that game. The Washington football team is playing the 49ers. Again, a winnable game for them. I think it really could come down to a last stretch effort. But I mean, we talk about if the division could fit both teams. I mean, both teams, if they fall out, are still within 1 spot of the 7th seed now with having 7 teams in the playoff, which currently the 7th seed currently sits with the Vikings at 6-6. So, I mean, not to say that both teams will make the playoffs, because I'm sure one of the teams is going to lose. It's just what it is. I mean, both these teams, they're young teams. They are with a first-year head coach. They have been coached very well and they've played very well, but they're also not well grained together, sort of, if that makes sense, where they don't have enough pieces. I mean, the Giants have been without Saquon Barkley all year. And they've made do with Wayne Gallman and Devontae Freeman and Deion Lewis in short spurts. But I don't know if the Giants not having Saquon Barkley is going to be a bigger factor than what we've seen throughout the regular season going into the playoffs. And then the same thing with the Washington football team. Obviously, Antonio Gibson has gone down. I think he will be okay. But, I mean, we've seen a resurgence of Alex Smith, who went back onto the field a little over 2 months ago for the first time in 2 years because of a leg injury. Obviously a major leg injury with 17 surgeries, but I mean, he's played well and he's playing winning football. And I think back to our conversation a couple of weeks ago about comeback player of the year, and I had mentioned Ben Roethlisberger, and I completely retract that statement. And Alex Smith is the comeback player of the year, in my opinion, but that's not the conversation we're having here. I think both teams are very well put together. I don't think both are going to make the playoffs. I think it goes to the Giants, in my opinion.
Mike?
Yeah, you made a good point about the Giants having beating the football team twice, so they have that tiebreaker. But I do think that the football team is going to come out with the division crown. I just think that they have an easier schedule overall on the way out. I think the Giants are playing the Cardinals, which I think is a loss, and then the Browns, which is another really tough game, and the Ravens. And I think all 3 of those games are lost as well. The football team still has the Eagles and the Panthers left on their schedule. So I think both those games are extremely winnable, especially that revenge game that Ron Rivera has against Carolina. But anyways, yeah, I do think that Washington is going to come out on top of this division. I think their win against Pittsburgh was more impressive than New York's win against Seattle. Seattle has been up and down all season. They've had some really explosive offensive spurts, but we've also seen them falter, and they faltered this weekend against the Giants. Wow, we really haven't seen the Steelers. We've seen, close games with them, but we haven't seen them lose. I feel like the aura of an undefeated team, especially at this point in the season, is really something not to be overlooked. And the football team really ran right through them, and they won that game handedly. So I think the football team is, gonna roll from here on out.
I know it's not normal on this show for me and Mike to disagree. Obviously, that's a joke. But I have to disagree with you. I think the Giants win is definitely more impressive than Washington football teams. I mean, the Giants were without their starting quarterback.
The Seahawks put up 12 points. When are you
because of a great defensive game that they had?
I just think if they played again, the Seahawks would definitely win.
Sure, but they don't have to play again. Maybe they'll play again in the playoffs. That's not what we're talking about right now. I think it was definitely a more it was a better win. They had Colt McCoy as their starting quarterback, and Wayne Gallman had 12 rushes for 134 yards. He had a career game. Defensive players were all over the field that game on Sunday. They played a great team effort game and got a win in a game that they really had to have. And they did it against a very good team in Seattle. And obviously I'm not discrediting Pittsburgh or the Washington football team win at all, because they did everything they could. They came down from a 14-point deficit. But at the end of the day, I think the Giants win was just a little more impressive without having their starting quarterback.
It's not like they went from Peyton Manning to Colt McCoy. They went from Daniel Jones to Colt McCoy, right? Colt McCoy didn't even.
Daniel Jones is having a pretty good season this year.
Can you let me finish my point before you interject, or are you just gonna interject the whole episode?
Depends on your points.
Depends on my points. And it's not like Colt McCoy played this like amazing game either, right? It was the defense and the running game that carried them. You know what I mean? So it's not like they necessarily needed Daniel Jones to win this game. It's not like Colt McCoy stepped in and really elevated that team to a different level, right? While with the football team, you're right. They came back from a 14-point deficit against an 11-0 team, a team that has never lost this season. I feel like that's much more impressive. And their starting running back was hurt during the middle of that game, Antonio Gibson, who has been absolutely electric for them as of recently. So, in my opinion, Washington's win was more impressive than the Giants. But that's not the question that we're talking about here. I just brought that up as a point to support me on, Washington winning the division. But anyways, Matt, who do you think is going to come out on top of the NFC East?
Yeah, I would like to point this to Tommy first. I just want to, because Tommy, I want to hear what you have to say before I could go on.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Mike. I honestly think that Washington will win the division. And I'm glad you brought up the schedule, because that's exactly what I was going to say. You look at the Giants, their final 4 games, 3 of them are against teams with records 500 or better. And it's the complete opposite with Washington. 3 of their 4 remaining games are against teams with records below 500. So I honestly see, I take a look at the Giants schedule right now. I think they're going to lose to the Cardinals on Sunday. I think they're going to lose to Cleveland, and I think they're going to lose to Baltimore. And then I think they will beat the Cowboys. Sorry about that, Mike. But and then taking a look at Washington, I think they can beat the 49ers on Sunday. And the Seahawks, that's going to be a tough game. I think they will lose that one, but I think they're going to win their last 2 against the Panthers and against the Eagles. So I don't know. I mean, I think the Giants are a really good team. I just, that's how I see it playing out with Washington winning the NFC East.
Especially with Daniel Jones out. I'll just throw that in there.
And he's coming back on Sunday, so that point's invalid.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Connor. You and Connor, like, Connor's above you, and he's just looking like a disappointed friend right now. He's like shaking his head no. He's just, Tommy, he's scolding you right now. But I'm gonna have to agree with both of you guys, Mike and Tommy. Washington is I don't want to say definitely, because that could come back to bite me, but they're gonna win this division because the mere fact of the strength of schedule coming up. Connor, you're gonna tell me right now that the Giants are gonna beat the Browns, Ravens, or Cardinals?
I think the Giants could beat the Cardinals on Sunday. And honestly, seeing the way that the Ravens are playing, they're not a playoff team right now. I think the Giants could be a good competition for the Baltimore Ravens. The Browns are playing incredibly well. I don't think they win against the Browns, but the Cardinals and the Ravens game, I think they can win.
Okay, well,
and if we want to mention the football team schedule, I mean, the Panthers aren't a win. The Panthers have been playing decent. I mean, they're 4.
Okay, but they're better than the Panthers. They're a better team than the Panthers.
Sure, but there's better teams that lose in the NFL. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers just lost, and the Seahawks just lost. It's a good
nobody's saying it's a surefire win, though. Like,
no, but we're saying that
it's in favor of them. So when we're predicting it, we take into account the rest of their schedule. And I'm sorry, the Giants' rest of the schedule is not looking pretty for them. They go against the Browns, who looked really good, the Ravens, who we know what they're capable of. They have a very good defense too. And they go against the Cardinals, which I guess that's probably their best shot. That's their best shot to win, but that we still know the Cardinals can be a very good team. The Cowboys, I'll give them that win. It's just whatever. Both the football team and Giants week 17 game is a whatever. They'll probably win it. Where in Washington, they go against the Panthers, which if they redid what they did on Monday, then they're going to win that game. They go against the 49ers. That's an easily winnable game for them, in my opinion. I don't know. It could sway either way, but that's still a winnable game for them. And then they go against the Seahawks, which, like Tommy said, I don't imagine them being the Seahawks. I don't think the Seahawks are going to have that bad of a game that they did last weekend. So right there, what I said, let's say the 49ers win. Let's say the 49ers win. And if the Giants only beat the Cowboys, then the Washington football team has that division guaranteed that they're beating Panthers and Eagles. That's just how I think it's going to go through.
But the Panthers, they are a good team. I mean,
God. Is this going to happen again where he says the Panthers are a good team? They're probably going to make the playoffs like he said with the Falcons.
No, but the Panthers are a good team, and we have to realize that they've been without Christian McCaffrey.
Okay, they are a good team. I just think the football team.
We have to realize that they've been without Christian McCaffrey, the number one player in the NFL, all year, and he's going to be returning to the field.
Cry me a river. Their offense looks fine without him. It's not like he's going to go in there and single-handedly win that game. He's a freaking running back.
What are you talking about? The one game he played this year against the Chiefs, they only lost by a field goal as time expired.
So you think that's 100% because of him? You're putting that whole
had 2 touchdowns and over 150 all-purpose yards that game, Matt. If you put him into the game,
you still got to throw the ball. You can't just run the ball the whole time.
150 all-purpose yards. Is Chris McCaffrey not a receiving back?
Oh my God!
Come on.
Okay, hold on. The other 2 games Christian McCaffrey played, they both lost. They lost to the Raiders by 4, and they got destroyed by the Buccaneers by 2 touchdowns.
And granted, Carolina has been a playoff team ever since Christian McCaffrey got here, just because solely the fact he's number 1 running back.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But the record is because of him not playing. I mean, they went out and they got these key accusations in Teddy Bridgewater and Robbie Anderson. And I don't like that this conversation is swayed to the Panthers. But when Chris McCaffrey is on the field, they're a different team. And we saw it when they were going up against the reigning Super Bowl champs and the Kansas City Chiefs, who had to struggle to get a win against the Panthers. When he's on the field, it makes a difference. And if he's going to be on the field against the Washington football team, it's going to make a difference, and they're going to win the game.
All right.
So
I think the Giants have the edge here. You guys can disagree with me, but I just
can you explain why? What elevates the Giants above the football team right now?
Their defense. Both teams have a very good defense, but the Giants' defense elevates when it has to. They went into Seattle and with a game that was a must-win without their starting quarterback, and they won. And their offensive line, which hasn't been very good as of late, allowed Wayne Gallman to rush for 132 yards. I mean, they elevated their play, and what says that them elevating their play against a now 9-3 or 8-4 Seattle Seahawks team? I don't know the record off the top of my head exactly. What says they can't elevate that play against the rest of the team or against for the rest of the year?
My problem is
their starting quarterback.
My problem is, did the football team not just do that against a better team? Did they not just do that against Pittsburgh?
I don't know. I don't know what he's trying to tell us right now, because
it's
honestly just mind-boggling. Who's better, Seattle or Pittsburgh? Tell me that right now.
Pittsburgh is a better team, maybe statistically. And come on, guys.
Don't say statistically and then shut your mouth because you have nothing on your side. You have no substance behind your point right now.
They're 11-1.
They both had a great upset this past weekend, right? And football team just has the easier strength of schedule. That's just the fact of the matter here.
Strength of schedule doesn't mean anything. You still have to go out and play. The game starts at 0-0 with 60 minutes on the clock. It doesn't matter what the strength of the schedule is or the team that you're lining up against.
Okay.
Cases this past weekend. Strength of schedule doesn't mean.
Yes, it does.
Okay,
let's say I'll give you 2 whole different teams. The Packers and the Lions right now are 8-8. The Packers play against the Jets, Jaguars, and Carolina Panthers for the next 3 games, while the other team, the Lions, play against the Chiefs, Buccaneers, and the stinking Rams. Who's going to win that division, Connor?
You're putting up 2 different cases of teams. These teams are so close.
Okay. Team A and Team B. Let's put it that way. Team A is playing the Jets, Jaguars, and Panthers. Team B is playing the Seahawks, Rams, Buccaneers. Who's going to win that division?
But you're mentioning these
Because
teams.
strength of schedule doesn't matter. Answer the question.
But the fact that these teams went out on Monday and they both beat a team that was better than them shows that in this case, strength of schedule doesn't mean anything. And Pittsburgh, if we're going to be completely honest, has had one of the easiest strengths of schedules all year. I mean, let's
Right.
look at
That's why they're 11-1.
Let's look at their schedule for a second.
You can't be talking about strength of schedule doesn't mean shit. Then bring that up as a point to why Pittsburgh isn't good. That doesn't work. That doesn't check out.
You guys are saying that it means so much and all of this stuff. And then you're saying, and I'm arguing about how a win over Seattle is better than a win over Pittsburgh. And you guys are saying that's just wrong because they're 11-1.
No.
But their 11 wins are against the Giants, Denver, Houston, Philadelphia.
Oh, so Pittsburgh did beat the Giants. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Wasn't Daniel Jones playing that game?
But you guys are just standing here, or you guys are sitting here right now and saying that the football team's going to lose to Seattle. And New York beat Seattle.
Yeah,
Okay,
they could.
Connor. Wait.
I'm saying most likely. What's most likely going to happen? Sure, the
Wait.
Giants can come out and win this division, but most likely the football team will.
Come on, you
Okay.
guys.
No, wait.
Tommy, I want Tommy to talk. He looks like he wanted to talk for a while.
Yeah, no, all I think it is that can the Giants have some upsets? Of course they can, but it's in the Washington football team's favor because the Giants have to have 3 upsets, and there's 3 games that Washington is likely to win.
Is it an upset against a 6-6 Cardinals team that's lost 4 of their last 5 after their bye week? Is that considered an upset?
It wouldn't be a major upset, but it's an upset.
How is it an upset when they're up 1 game over them?
Because they're projected to win. If you look at the line, the Cardinals are projected.
I don't give a crap.
Okay,
about-
Connor. First off,
Who's the more
first off,
talented team?
Who's the better team? Kyler Murray is going to get them that win on Sunday.
They're the better team. Yes, they have better players on their team, but they've also only won 1 more game than the Giants. It's not
I
an
know,
upset.
but Connor, every game you play, you have the potential to win. We're not arguing with that. Could the Giants do it? Of course they could. But Washington, more things are in their favor. And personally, I think the Giants might be the better team, but the Giants are going up against much tougher teams than Washington is. So that's how we think it's going to come out. We're not saying you're wrong. The Giants could certainly do it. It's just that, if you look at everything, I personally feel that it's in favor of Washington. But could the Giants do it? Of course.
I mean, let's go back to straight schedule now. If we're comparing the Cardinals and the freaking Giants, the Giants played the Eagles twice. They played the Cowboys. They played.
It's their
And
division.
no. We talked about the NFC West being one of the best divisions like a month ago. Is that just out of the tank now? Because the Cardinals are 6-6 or something? Because they had to play the Seahawks twice, which they lost 1 of them. And I'm sure I don't remember how many games they played against the Rams/49ers, but still, that's games. And when we're talking about strength of schedule, like you just did with the Steelers, saying that they're not, you can't. Well, I get that the Cardinals are 6-6, but they're a better team than the Giants, even though it's 1 game, but 1 game difference just because of strength of schedule.
But we also have to think about momentum in these cases. They've lost 4 out of their last 5 out of their bye week, and the Giants are on a high right now, and they won a game with a backup quarterback. You get Daniel Jones back into that system, and you get him a week of practice, and you get Wayne Gallman, I think, is going to be a big feature against this Arizona defense this week, and you get that offensive line to watch more tape about what they did last week against a Seattle defense, and that's been very good against the run all year. And you see that you allowed your running back to run for 132 yards. You get them that. Then you go into a game with momentum. All the cards are in your favor.
Okay. Can they win that game? Sure. Are the odds in their favor? No. And that's the same thing for the whole rest of the season.
And
that's what we're trying to say.
Washington football team against San Francisco.
My God. The purpose that we're saying why Washington's going to win is because
thing,
odds are in their favor.
But here's the thing, you guys are saying that what I'm saying about how I believe that the Giants have winnable games, then you guys are saying, oh, yeah, surefire win against the Panthers. It's definitely it's going to happen. And you're saying, oh, they're playing the 49ers. It's going to happen. Come on.
I'm saying odds are in their
those
favor
games
of
are
happening.
much more likely to happen than the Giants being the Browns, the Ravens.
And then turn around and say it yourself. It's being hypocritical.
Who said surefire win, though? I don't think anybody said surefire win. I think it's that it's more likely that it's going to happen. Of course, it could go the other way, but we just think it's more likely.
All right.
Anyways, we've talked a lot about both these teams. Let's move into the third team in this division, the Philadelphia Eagles. Doug Pearson announced that they are switching starting quarterbacks. They're going from Carson Wentz to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts replaced the bench Carson Wentz in last week's match against the Packers. But anyways, so what do we think about Jalen Hurts? He's playing a tough team in New Orleans, a good defense, and he's making his first career start. Matt, I'll swing it to you first.
Yes, sorry about that. I guess my Wi-Fi just cut out or something. You guys were like all frozen on the screen. So we're talking about Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously it's probably heartbreaking to an Eagles fan. My brother's an Eagles fan. I know how he feels, but I think that this is the right situation here. You got Carson. I'm a fan of his. I'm sure you guys have noticed, obviously. Carson's been having a really rough year. And obviously the Eagles are sitting where they're sitting. So it doesn't hurt bringing in Jalen Hurts. Obviously he played during the Packers game. Nothing too spectacular, but nothing too awful, to be honest. So bringing him in this game, I understand what they're doing here. I'm sure it's not going to hurt because I see a loss either way. So I'm really interested to see what Jalen can do. Obviously, the difference that him and Carson I see is that Jalen can run with his legs. He likes to use his legs. We've seen that in Alabama, Oklahoma, and last game. So very interested to see what happens. I think a loss either way. They're going against the Saints, which are one of the best teams in the NFC anyway.
Connor, what do you think?
I think it's interesting. I think it's going to be pretty fun to watch Jalen Hurts out there. I mean, we've now seen a lot more of the rookie quarterbacks actually get out on the field. But no, he got drafted this year, right? He was drafted this year, second round. Yeah.
Second round.
I don't think this is a full-time move. I honestly think this could be just a let's give Carson Wentz a break type move. And then I wouldn't be surprised to see Carson Wentz the starting quarterback of their game next week. This is really just going to be like a Jalen go out there and prove that you can be a starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles for us. And if he doesn't play very well, they're not going to give him the ball next week. It's going to be Carson Wentz back out on the field.
Tommy, what are we thinking over here?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good move for them just because, they are out of the division at this point. And, it's good to get him out there because he is the future. We all know what he was able to do in college. And, I think it's good to give him that opportunity. And I think that Carson Wentz, while he struggled, I think he still, has a little bit left in the tank. And I agree, Connor. I think he'll be out there, probably the next game at some point soon. But, it's a good opportunity for Jalen Hurts, and we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. It was definitely, the right decision to make this move. The argument could be made that it was a little late considering how bad and detrimental Carson Wentz's play has been. But it was about time that the Eagles made this move. Doug Pearson finally giving the reins to Jalen Hurts after, he threw him in for like a play here and there the past couple weeks. But he really stepped in last week of that Packers game and really re-energized the Eagles. We saw wide receivers getting open. We saw Jalen Reagor scoring his first NFL touchdown. He rolled out to the right of the pocket, made a beautiful pass, something that I haven't seen Carson Wentz do all year, to Jalen Reagor for like a 40-yard touchdown, which was awesome. And I think like Matt mentioned, a big advantage that Jalen Hurts has over Carson Wentz is that he's much more mobile. Carson Wentz is a really mobile quarterback, but Jalen Hurts is just a little bit more quick and agile. And I think that will help with Lane Johnson being on that whole offensive line is being destroyed. But to be honest, I think that Jalen Hurts is going to start the rest of the way for the Eagles. Next year, who knows what's going to happen, right? Kind of depends on how Jalen Hurts plays. But I feel like you don't make this move unless there's 4 games left in their season. They really don't have much to play for at this point. Why not just see, how he plays for those 4 games? One game can go whatever way, we possibly know. We have no idea what's going to happen against the Saints. He could go out, play amazing, or he could just have an absolute stinker. So I feel like you don't make this move. You don't change you don't play musical chairs at the quarterback position. That's all I'm saying. you make this move, just give him a decent sample size, and I think Hurts will start the rest of the way.
It would definitely be interesting. I think it's gonna have to depend on what he does next week for him to start the rest of the year. But it would be interesting to see if he starts in the rest of the year and then going to next year. Saying that he plays amazing, because it would just be really interesting, just because of the cap that Carson has moving forward too.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say.
All right, well, that kind of wraps up a decently long NFC East segment. So we had a great discussion here, and we're ready to get into the GOAT picks. We'll take you right into that right now.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We're back into GOAT picks. We go to the leaderboard. We have a 3-way tie, boys. We have a 3-way tie, which is really weird.
You guys got me with the Rams pick. I thought the Patriots were going to go out and ride the momentum. Obviously, I was wrong.
Is this the first 3-way tie? I think it's the first
Yeah.
3-way tie. We can say that.
San Diego State came in huge.
Yeah, Kawhi heard you and told him to play good.
I wish he heard me a couple months ago in the bubble, but it's okay.
We got 4 really great NFL games this Sunday and Monday. We're gonna keep the NFC East rolling. We're gonna pick 2 games from the NFC East. First one, Cardinals Giants. Connor, we're gonna keep the order since we're all on a 3-way tie and Tommy's in last. Connor, who are you gonna go with?
I mean, I got to back up the G-men here. I got to go with the Giants. I think they are going to beat the Cardinals. Daniel Jones is coming back, as I argued in our previous segment, and I think Wayne Gallman has another really good game. I think he's going to be a focal point of the offense. And again, I think we're going to see the defense step up. I think we could see James Bradbury kind of have a good game against DeAndre Hopkins. There's no shutting down DeAndre Hopkins, but I think he could minimize his efforts there. I think the Giants win this game.
I'm gonna take the Cardinals. No shocker here, like we talked about before. Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, they need to start connecting. They need to get through this if they want to make the playoffs. So it starts here with this game. Mike?
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to take the Cardinals here. I just think that they're too talented to keep this losing streak going, and I don't really know how if Daniel Jones is going to be at full strength. He's been limited this whole week. He's kind of a game time decision at that point. But regardless if Daniel Jones starts or not, I just think Giants have been on a nice streak. They've had some good wins, but I think it ends here against Arizona.
Tommy?
Yeah, I agree. I have to go with the Cardinals in this one. I just think that, like you said, it's a must-win game for them. And Kyler Murray, he's going to be ready to go. So, it is at MetLife, so I'm going against the home team. But I just think that the Cardinals are going to come out and they're going to play well. They have lost 4 of their last 5. So, that's tough, but I think they will bounce back.
Next game we got over to Washington's game. They're playing the 49ers in Arizona, Tommy, so there really isn't any home team here. Connor, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I got to go with the 49ers here. I mean, we did see them take a tough loss to Buffalo on Monday night, but I think they are going to bounce back. I think there could be I think it could come down to being a defensive game, and I think the 49ers have a slight edge over their defense, even with some injuries. So I'm going to take the 49ers here.
As much as I was shooting for the football team last segment, I just want to say I do believe that the Giants are going to only win against Cowboys, and the football team is going to beat the Panthers and the Eagles. But nonetheless, this game, I got the 49ers. I just think the 49ers defense, like you said, Connor, they're starting to get towards full strength. And they also need to start winning. I mean, both these teams need to start winning, but I just see the 49ers taking this one. Mike?
I'm going to disagree with you guys. I'm going to stick with my guns and go with the football team here. They really showed me a lot last week. They showed me a lot against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. No matter how bad the Cowboys are, they absolutely destroyed them. And they've been on a little bit of a nice roll here. And I really don't think the 49ers are as good as, as you both tout them out to be. They got absolutely shredded by Josh Allen last week. Now, am I saying Alex Smith is like Josh Allen, any sort of imagination? Heck no. But I think Alex Smith will do enough, and that defense will be outstanding against a weak 49ers offense, which is really one-dimensional.
Tommy?
This is honestly really tough. I'm not quite sure. As much as I was supporting the football team, I think I am going to go with the 49ers in this one. You mentioned that defense. They've allowed 326.3 total yards per game this season, which is the sixth fewest in the NFL. I don't know. It's tough, but I'm gonna go with San Francisco.
Okay, now we got the Sunday night football game. The Steelers, we talked about them before, losing to Washington last week, versus the Bills. We just talked about them beating the 49ers last week. Ultimately, a really great game. I'm excited to see it. Connor, who are you going to go with?
The Steelers really underwhelmed me last week, and I think they're going to underwhelm again, and I think the Bills are going to win this Sunday night football game.
Yeah, I'm not confident with the Steelers right now. Do I think they could turn out a W? And then yeah, but I'm going to go with the Bills. Mike?
I'm going with the Steelers here. I still believe that their team is supremely talented, no matter how close these past couple wins have been. I really think that they're going to have a sort of attitude coming into this game against the Bills. I think they'll come out with a W.
Tommy?
Yeah, I agree with Mike 100%. I have faith in the Steelers. I know that they have struggled the past couple games, and they have to get better. And Mike Tomlin and his team, they know that. There's a reason why they're 11-1, best record in football. So, I think it's going to be a really good game. I think the Bills are great, but I have to go with the Steelers. I just think that they're going to find a way to bounce back and win this game in Buffalo.
In the final game, we got AFC North division rivals, Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. Connor, who do you have?
I think Cleveland is seeing that there kind of could be an opening for a division championship there, with Pittsburgh falling last week and then having another tough game. They have a tough game of their own with Baltimore. This is a tough one. It's really tough. I have the Browns circled on my page, so I'm going to go with the Browns.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is a very tough game. I'm going to go with the Ravens. I just have a weird feeling. Mike?
Sticking with the color purple on my shirt, and I'm gonna roll with the Ravens. Browns had a great week last week. I don't think Baker Mayfield's play is gonna last, and Baltimore has really been stepping up the past couple of weeks, so I'm going with them. And they have Mark Andrews back. That's huge against a Cleveland defense who has struggled against tight ends.
And finally, Tommy.
Yeah, this is tough. I've been going back and forth, but I think I am going to go with Cleveland. And I think you brought up a good point, Mike. I don't think that Baker Mayfield is going to play like he did last Sunday, but I still think it's going to be enough to get the win. But I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, you have Lamar Jackson against Baker Mayfield. I think Baker's going to play well enough to get the win, but I think it's going to be really close. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good game.
There you have it. There are picks for episode number 59. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
At the end of this week, there is going to be a distinct number one in goal picks.
That's correct.
We'll just have to see who it is.
It's going to be
Tommy. It's not going to be.
It's going to be me because the Giants are going to win. But
okay, yeah.
Okay.
We'll see about that. But anyways, thank you guys for another great episode. We love all support. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. That helps us out so much. We are only a couple away from 100 subs. We would love to get that as soon as possible, maybe before the end of the year. Who knows? But follow us on our socials. Just support us in any way you can. We really appreciate everything you guys do, and we will see you in the next one.